all praises, all praises to the heavenly, holy, almighty creator of infinity, eternity, the universe, and all there is. This is Revelations.Unveiled. Detroit. Hello, family. We are back together once again so we can dine on the divine word of the manna, meat, bread, and wine of the word of the Lord. And we are resuming our review and consideration and elaboration on the book of First Maccabees, the hidden history of the Holy Bible, the Greek captivity. And so in our last episode, we mourned at the death of brother Judas, the magnificent, valiant, and honored priest of the tribe of Judah, as he warred valiantly against the armies of the Greeks and the coming Romans. So in those battles, brother Judas fell and was mourned. And this brother Jonathan stepped in to lead the nation, both spiritually and militarily. So we will resume with the 9th chapter of the book of First Maccabees. And we began. First Maccabees, chapter 10, verse 1. In the 160th year of Alexander, the son of Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, went up and took Ptolemais, for the people had received him by means whereof he reigned there. Now when King Demetrius heard thereof, he gathered together an exceeding great host and went forth against to fight him. All right, people. So these are the wars and the prophecies foreseen in the book of Brother Daniel, where he sees the coming of the Greek Empire against the current Medo-Persian. Demetrius is the king of the Persian Empire and is getting ready for battle against the Greeks. Verse 3, moreover, Demetrius sent letters unto Jonathan with loving words, so as he magnified him. For, said he, let us first make peace with him before he join with Alexander against us. Else he will remember all the evils that we have done against him and against his brethren and his people. So Demetrius is trying to get in front of a new political order that could destroy his people. Wherefore he gave him great authority to gather together a host and to provide weapons that he might aid him in battle. He commanded also that the hostages that were in the tower should be delivered to him. So Demetrius is supplying the nation of Israel, or the Judeans, with military arms so that he can come in and make treaty with them. And he's released the hostages that he has kept within the land. Then came Jonathan to Jerusalem and read the letters in the audience of all the people and of them that were in the tower, who were sore afraid when they heard that the king had given him authority to gather together a host. Whereupon they of the tower delivered their hostages unto Jonathan, and he delivered them unto their parents. This being done, Jonathan settled himself in Jerusalem and began to build and repair the city. And he commanded the workmen to build the walls and the Mount Sion, and about with the square stones for fortification. And they did so. Then the strangers that were in the fortresses which Maccabees had built fled away, inasmuch as every man left his place and went into his own country. Only at Bethsura, certain of those that had forsaken the law and the commandments remained still, for it was their place of refuge. Now, When the king Alexander had heard what promises Demetrius had sent unto Jonathan, when also it was told him of the battles and the noble acts which he and his brethren had done, and of the pains that they had endured, he said, shall we find such another man? Now, therefore, we will make him our friend and confederate. Okay, family, so now Demetrius had set up goodwill toward Jonathan and the people of Jerusalem, and now Alexander is sending goodwill toward the people. So let us see what emerges. Verse 17. Upon this he wrote a letter and sent it unto him, according to these words, saying, King Alexander to his brother Jonathan sendeth greeting. We have heard of you, that you are a man of great power, and meet to be our friend. Wherefore now this day we ordain you to be the high priest of your nation, and to be called the king's friend. And wherewith he sent him a purple robe and a crown of gold, and require you to take our part and keep friendship with us. So in the 7th month of the 160th year, at the Feast of Tabernacles, Jonathan put on the holy robe and gathered together forces and provided much armor, whereof when Demetrius heard, he was very sorry and said, what have we done that Alexander has prevented us in making amity with the Jews to strengthen himself? I also will write unto them words of encouragement and promise them dignities and gifts, that I may have their aid. He sent unto them therefore to this effect, King Demetrius, unto the people of the Jews, sending greeting. Whereas you have kept covenants with us, and continue in our friendship, not joining yourselves with our enemies, we have heard hereof and are glad. Wherefore now, continue you still to be faithful unto us, and we will recompense you for the things you have done in our behalf. And I will grant you many immunities and give you rewards. And now I do free you, and for your sake I release all Jews from tributes and from customs of salt and from crown taxes, and from that which appertaineth unto me to receive for the 3rd part of the seed and the half of the fruit of the trees. I release it from this day forth, so that they shall not be taken of the land of the country of Samaria and Galilee from this day forth forevermore. Let Jerusalem also be holy and free, with the borders thereof, both from tenths and tributes. And as for the tower which is at Jerusalem, I yield up authority over it, and give it to the high priest, that he may set in it such as the men as he shall choose to keep it. Moreover, I freely set at liberty every one of the Jews that were carried captives out of the land of Judea into any part of my kingdom, and I will that all my officers remit the tributes even of their cattle. Furthermore, I will that all the feasts and Sabbaths and new moons and solemn days and the 3 days before the feast and the 3 days after the feast shall be all of immunity and freedom for all the Jews in my realm. Also, no man shall have authority to meddle with or to molest any of them in any manner. I will further that there be enrolled among the king's forces about 30,000 men of the Jews, unto whom pay shall be given, as belongeth to all the king's forces. And of them some shall be placed in the king's strongholds, of whom also some shall be set over the affairs of the kingdom, which are of trust. And I will be that their overseers and governors be of themselves, and that they live after their own laws, even as the king has commanded in the land of Judea. And concerning the 3 governments that are added to Judea from the country of Samaria, let them be joined with Judea, that they may be reckoned to be under one, nor bound to obey other authority than the high priest. Verse 39, as for Ptolemy's and the land pertaining thereto, I give it as a free gift to the sanctuary at Jerusalem for the necessity and the necessary expenses of the sanctuary. Moreover, I give every year 15,000 shekels of silver out of the king's accounts from the places appertaining, and all of the overplus which the officers paid not in as in former time, from henceforth shall be given toward the work of the temple. And besides this, 5,000 shekels of silver, which they took from the uses of the temple out of the accounts year by year, even those things shall be released, because they appertain to the priests that minister. And whosoever they be that flee unto the temple at Jerusalem, or be within the liberties hereof, being indebted unto the king, or for any other matter, let them be at liberty, and all they that have in my realm. For the building also and repairing of the works of the sanctuary, expenses shall be given of the king's accounts. Ooh, family. So Demetrius is getting real friendly with the Jews. So he's releasing many tributes and taxes on the people. So let us see how much further he goes. Yea, and for the building of the walls of Jerusalem, and for the fortifying thereof round about, expenses shall be given out of the king's accounts, as also for the building of the walls of Judea. Now, when Jonathan and the people heard these words, they gave no credit unto them, nor received them, because they remembered the great evil that he had done in Israel, for he had afflicted them very sore. But with Alexander they were well pleased, because he was the first that entreated of true peace with them, and they were confederate with him always. Then gathered King Alexander great forces, and camped over against Demetrius. And after the 2 kings had joined battle, Demetrius's hosts fled, but Alexander followed after him and prevailed against him. And he continued the battle very sore until the sun went down, and the day was Demetrius slain. That day, Demetrius was slain. Verse 51, afterward, Alexander sent ambassadors to Ptolemy, king of Egypt, with a message to this effect: forasmuch as I am come again to my realm, and am set in the throne of my progenitors, and have gotten the dominion, and overthrown Demetrius, and recovered our country. For after I had joined battle with him, both he and his hosts were discomfited by us, so that we sit in the throne of his kingdom. Now, therefore, let us make a league of amity together, and give me now your daughter to wife, and I will by thy son-in-law, and will give both thee and her as according to your dignity. Then Ptolemy the king gave answer, saying, Happy be the day wherein you did return into the land of your fathers, and sattest in the throne of their kingdom. And now will I do to you as you have written. Meet me therefore at Ptolemy's, that we may see one another, for I will marry my daughter to you according to your desire. All right, so family, Alexander has come in to the land of Egypt where he's setting up his throne, and now he's making deals with the current ruler of Egypt. So Ptolemy went out of Egypt with his daughter Cleopatra, and they came unto Ptolemy's in the 162nd year, where King Alexander, meeting him, he gave unto him his daughter Cleopatra, and celebrated her marriage at Ptolemy with great glory, as the manner of kings is. All right, family. So right here in the book of the Maccabees, we see the joinings of the kingdom. The former ruler of Egypt has given over his daughter Cleopatra to the incoming ruler Alexander the Greek. Now when Alexander had written unto Jonathan that he should come and meet him, who thereupon went honorably to Ptolemy's, where he met at the two kings, and gave them and their friends silver and gold and many presents, and found favor in their sight. At that time certain pestilent fellows of Israel, men of a wicked life, assembled themselves against him to accuse him, but the king would not hear them. Yea, more than that, the king commanded to take off his garments and clothe him in purple, and they did so. And he made him sit by himself, and said into his princes, Go with him into the midst of the city, and make proclamation that no man complain against him in any manner, and that no man trouble him for any manner of cause. Now when his accusers saw that he was honored according to the proclamation, and clothed in purple, they fled away. So the king honored him, and wrote him among his chief friends, and made him a duke and partaker of his dominion. Afterward, Jonathan returned to Jerusalem with peace and gladness. So their family, Brother Jonathan of the Maccabees, has made truce, amity, goodwill, and good covenant with the ruler of Egypt and the new coming in King Alexander the Greek. Verse 67. Furthermore, in the 165th year came Demetrius, son of Demetrius, out of Crete into the land of his fathers, whereof when King Alexander heard tell, he was right sorry, and returned into Antioch. Then Demetrius made Apollonius, the governor of Seleucia, his general, who gathered together a great host, and camped in Jamnia, and sent unto Jonathan the high priest, saying, You alone lift up yourself against us, and I am laughed to scorn for your sake, and reproached. And why do you vaunt your power against us in the mountains? Now therefore, if you trust in your own strength, come down to us in the plain field, and there let us try the matter together. For with me is the power of the cities. Oh, okay. So a son of one of the rulers is contesting Brother Jonathan for the previous acts of strength against them. Let us see. Ask and learn who I am, and the rest that take our part, and they shall tell you that your foot is not able to fight in their own land. Wherefore now you shall not be able to abide the horsemen, and so great a power in the plain, where is neither stone nor flint, nor place to flee unto. So when Jonathan heard the words of Apollonius, he was moved in his mind, and choosing 10,000 men, he went out of Jerusalem, where Simon his brother met him to help him. And he pitched his tents against Joppa. But they of Joppa shut him out of the city, because Apollonius had a garrison there. Then Jonathan laid siege upon it, whereupon they of the city let him in for fear. And so Jonathan won Joppa. Whereof when Apollonius heard, he took 3,000 horsemen with a great host of footmen, and went to Azotus, and won that journey, and therewithal drew him forth into the plain, because he had a great number of horsemen in whom he put his trust. Then Jonathan followed after him to Azotus, where the armies joined battle. Verse 79. Now Apollonius had left 1,000 horsemen in ambush, and Jonathan knew that there was an ambushment behind him, for they had compassed in his host, and cast darts at the people from morning till evening. But the people stood still, as Jonathan had commanded them, and so the enemy's horses were tired. Then brought Simon forth his host, and set them against the footmen, for the horsemen were spent, who were discomfited by him, and fled. The horsemen also, being scattered in the field, fled to Azotus, and went into Beth Dagon, their idol's temple, for safety. Okay, so in the city of Azotus is an idol called Beth Dagon. Beth Dagon is the idol of these people. Verse 84. But Jonathan set fire on Azotus, and the cities round about, and took their spoils, and the temple of Dagon, with them that were fled into it, he burned with fire. All right, family, brother Jonathan is doing it. Thus they were burned and slain with the sword, well near 8,000 men. And from there Jonathan removed his host and camped against Ascalon, where the men of the city came forth and met him with great pomp. After this returned Jonathan and his host unto Jerusalem, having any spoils. Now when King Alexander heard these things, he honored Jonathan yet more. He sent him a buckle of gold, and the use is to be given to such as are the king's blood, and gave him also Acheron with the borders thereof in possession. Woo! All right, family. So we see here the continuing battles and escapades of our brothers of the Maccabean leadership in the land of Jerusalem, where we now have Brother Jonathan as the holy high priest and his brother Simon leading a host of valiant warriors for the nation. And currently they are in good league with the Greek king and the Egyptian king. So, as we continue to review and expand and expound on our spiritual and mental intellect, we will continue with the wonderful review of the hidden history of the Holy Word. So, Continue in strength, endure in love, practice in peace. Until we are together again, I love you. I love you. I love you. This is Revelations.Unveiled. Detroit. The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 10.